y'all. Welcome to another episode of Unleashing Souls. It's your girl Tamisha E.T. What's good? What's poppin'? All right, y'all. Welcome back for another episode. And we're back on YouTube and we're recording an episode. So today, I don't really have no announcements. Y'all, I know I look crazy. Okay? And I contemplated on, these are for the people that's watching the YouTube video, so excuse me to the podcast listeners real quick. I was battling with getting on camera because I'm like, I honestly don't feel like doing my makeup and I need to wash my hair, but I'm like, I'm just gonna throw on a hat and some lip gloss and they gonna just accept me as I am. So I'm just like, I'm showing up. It doesn't matter how I look as long as I show up, so whatever. I'm excited about today's episode because I don't know, this revelation that God gave me literally it's so interesting because he gave me this revelation a couple days ago, and then I was presented with a test and I still failed, and then afterwards I remembered and I was just like, okay, God. But I wanted to come on here and share it with you guys because it amazing, and I just pray that it encourages, and I know it will encourage us, those that are in the waiting season, those are just in this Christian walk. So we are going to be reading from Exodus 3, and it's a couple verses in here, and I'm gonna list them all in the description in the show notes, y'all know that. But I'm gonna be reading a few things to y'all, so if I'm looking down at my computer. So, y'all, the title of this episode, as you can see, is that it get worse before it gets better. Excuse me. So, we are going to be starting from Exodus 3:7. So, we're going to be talking about when God called Moses to go and free the people out of Israel. Okay, and then I'm going to read the first verse and then we're going to get into some context and then we're going to get into the word. So it says, Exodus 3:7. Then the Lord told him, I have certainly seen oppression of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries of distress because of their harsh slave drivers. Yes, I am aware of their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. It is a land flowing with milk and honey, the land where the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivitites, and Jebusites now live. Okay, so just some context. Where God told Moses this is when he literally called him at the burning bush. He called him and he literally gave him his assignment. So God called Moses and immediately said an issue that's happening and gave Moses an assignment. And his assignment was and it's listed in Exodus 3:10. Now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh. You must lead my people out of Egypt. So Moses ain't go looking for no assignment from God, and that goes for us in our life. Sometimes we ain't go looking for the life that God is calling us to live. He most likely came and assigned us this assignment. So that just goes as a side note for anybody that's like, okay, you searching for your purpose or searching for what you should do. Just continue to seek God, and He'll literally, like, out of Moses' curiosity, he was able to receive the assignment that God had for his life. So just continue to be curious about God, continue to search for God, and He will literally hand you your assignment as simple as day. So 9 times out of 10, we don't have to go looking for our assignment. God will literally hand it over to us. So that's just a side note. So we're going to fast forward here to chapter 4. And chapter 4 verse 31, it says, I'm skipping. So in chapter 4, it was an instruction after God told him, okay, go. Moses, I'm not even going to get into that part where Moses was basically talking about like how he's not good enough, how he doesn't speak. We could talk about that in another episode. But so he gives him the assignment and he tells him, okay, go to the elders of Israel first before you go to Pharaoh. So that was the assignment. So in verse 431, we're gonna read the reaction of the Israelites, the elders of Israel. Okay, it says, "Then the people of Israel were convinced that the Lord had sent Moses and Aaron. When they heard that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped." That's in Exodus 4:31, right? So God gave Moses an assignment. And in that assignment, he said, "Listen, I'm calling you to go free my people. In the midst of you freeing my people, here's boom. Bullet number one. I need you to go to the Israelites, the leaders of the Israelites, the elders of the Israelites, excuse me, y'all, the elders of the Israelites. And I need you to tell them what I basically told you. Then I need you to go to Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go. Basically, to tell them to go and worship me for 3 days." And God knows everything. He knew that man was not gonna, and he told Moses like his heart was hardened and he was not gonna do it. Right? So now the elders of Israel, they about it. Like they are in agreement with the word. They say, okay, God has truly sent you. They in agreement. So now Moses and Aaron, they go to, I believe the elders was with them. I can't remember. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, okay, God is saying like, let my people go for 3 days so they can worship me. And Pharaoh is like, who's your God? And like, who do you think I'm gonna listen to you? Like, what? Mind you, side note, in the beginning of Exodus, it says that the Israelites were growing like wildfire. And literally, they were like one of the greatest nations, like with so many people. And Pharaoh tried to kill the firstborns and just tried to like cut off the numbers of them. So we already know that the Israelites were great in number. So when Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said this, Pharaoh like, y'all crazy. Like, y'all out y'all mind. Y'all think I'm finna let y'all go? Like, he ain't say that, but this is my, spark notes. He like, y'all crazy. You think I'm finna let y'all go and worship y'all God somewhere else? Y'all crazy. Like, no, that's not happening. So after he tells them what God said, Pharaoh doubles up on their labor. Mind you, they were slaves. So he doubled up on their labor. Okay? And in Exodus 5:6, this is what it says. That same day, Pharaoh sent this order to the Egyptians, slave drivers, and Israelites foremen. Do not supply any more straw for making bricks. Make the people get it themselves, but still require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That's why they are crying out, let us go and offer sacrifices to our God. Y'all hear this? Do y'all see this? Do y'all see where I'm like trying to go with this? Moses does everything God is telling him to do. He goes to the elders. Then after going to the elders, he got to go to Pharaoh. He go to Pharaoh. Pharaoh getting heated. And I have like a revelation I'm going to read for y'all after. Pharaoh getting heated. Pharaoh like, y'all crazy. Nah, we finna double up the labor on y'all because y'all quote unquote lazy. Y'all ain't got much work. Y'all have too much free time. So I'm finna double up on the work on y'all so y'all won't be able to leave. And think about that in your life. Like, God tell you to do something. God gives you an assignment. He gives you a game plan. And you start working on the game plan. And then, boom, all hell breaks loose. Boom, things start going buzz. Things just start falling through, like, the cracks. Like, and it's just like, God, what happened? I'm doing everything you told me to do. Like, what's going on? And I know I'm not the only one that as soon as God puts a stamp on you or God tells you to move forward, you are just hit with all these oppositions. That is not a surprise. And we not the only ones that have been through it, right? Pharaoh / fear / the enemy did not want the people to be free because that would mean it would destroy their kingdom and their economy. If Pharaoh let the people go, this large nation that is basically making things move and shake in his land, in his country, what's gonna be of his country? What's gonna be of his place? So he like, nah, y'all trying to leave, y'all trying to bug? No, that's not happening. That is not happening. I'm pretty sure one, pride and God's stubborn heart in his heart, of course, but thinking of it like economically. Who's gonna do all the work that they was doing? You know what I'm saying? How we gonna bring in money? How we gonna do this? How we gonna do that? Like, no, like they might try to take over us. They might, and that's something that one of the pharaohs said in the beginning of the book. Like they might try to overtake us and kill us and rob us and all that type of stuff. The enemy don't want that. And just think about it in your life, like the Pharaoh, the enemy, the fear in your life that is trying to double up because God said a word to you, because God gave a word to you. No, like the enemy is not going to allow you to move up on that word, because he knows once you do, you destroying the economy. You about to level up on another level. You about to impact and destroy the kingdom of darkness. You about to really set some people free. You about to really like level up on them. Like you are about to be a game changer. He doesn't want you to do what God has called you to do, because he know it's about to terrorize his kingdom. So of course he about to throw darts. Of course he about to make it harder for you. Of course he about to send people to say crazy things to you. Of course he's about to send fear to cripple your heart, send things to weigh you down, send things to confuse you, send things to shut you up, send things to delay you. He's about to send anything he can to stop you from doing your assignment. But the good news is, because as we read in Exodus 3:7-8, God already in 8, God already said a promise. He already gave his promise. And his promise was like, I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and lead them out of Egypt into their own fertile and spacious land. The land was already for them, and God was literally trying to take them out. So the fear that's coming up against you, the opposition that's coming up against you, it cannot override the promise and the covenant that God made with you. Because in one of the, and we're going to read this after, I believe, but one of the verses, God was saying, look, like, it's already promised to you. I said what I said. Like, I just need y'all to get out of here and go here. And there's so many lessons in the book of Exodus. There's so many things that we can talk about. There's so many things I wanted to talk about, but I thank God for this main focus. The focus of this episode is to remind you that things are going to get worse before they get better. That's just the reality of it. Things are going to get worse before they get better. We're not even talking about, the promise already being there for you, how it was all for God's glory, because we know that the plagues that came after was all for God's glory, to show that God was really their God, to show that God was covering his perfect people, to show that God was really the God over the whole world, over the country, over that nation, really, because Pharaoh thought he was a god. So it all was for God's glory. But in this specific episode, we basically talking about and reminding you that, bruh, you're not crazy. Just because it's getting bad, just because it's looking bad, doesn't mean the promise has been snatched from you. Doesn't mean that you're not about to get across that river. Because sometimes, bruh, it could feel like you are never getting there. It can feel like, duh, this road is so long. I'ma just sit it out right here. It can feel like all of this is for nothing. Like, what is this for? It can feel like I'm never getting there. Basically, like, God, I'm good, because ain't no way you told me to do this, ain't no way you called me to do this if it's this hard. And I want to remind you that it's going to get worse before it gets better. But please remember the promises of God. So we're going to continue, right? So that same day after Pharaoh gives this order, like, yeah, y'all ain't getting no straw for these bricks. Like, y'all better go find it yourselves, and y'all better meet the same quota. How is that even possible? I don't know how they did it, right? And In that same chapter, it says, the same day the elders of Israel said, this is what they said to Moses. I didn't write it down, but basically they was like, not the elders, but the foremen. They was just like, may God curse you for bringing this pain on us, and you literally gave Pharaoh a weapon against us, right? So now Moses is getting cursed for something that God told him to do. My God. I don't even want to act like them people. You know them people that be going crazy. But that is a word. Moses is getting cussed by the people that God told to free for doing what God told him to do, bruh. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, I'm so excited about this word because, yo, this is like real life. Like, this is real life. So Moses getting cussed out by this word. Literally, may a curse fall on you. This is what Moses say. Cause who else he finna go to? Who else he finna go to? He only has to go to God, because it's like, God, you put me in this position. God, I was good in this other nation with my family. You know what I'm saying? I just saw a bush burning, like, and I just went to go look to see what it is, and you giving me this promise, you giving me this assignment. I didn't go asking for it. So who he finna go to? He finna go to God. And this is what he says in Exodus 6:6-9. He says, therefore say to the people of Israel. Oh, I lie. I can't. Let me slow down. This is what Moses said to God, right? That same day. He says, then Moses went back to the Lord and protested. Why have you brought all this trouble on your own people, Lord? Why did you send me? Ever since I came to Pharaoh as your spokesman, he has been even more brutal to your people, and you have done nothing to rescue them. And that is Exodus 5:22-23. I want to read that again. It says, then Moses went back to the Lord and protested, why have you brought all this trouble on your own people, Lord? Why did you send me? Ever since I came to Pharaoh as your spokesman, he has been even more brutal to your people, and you have done nothing to rescue them. How many of us had that prayer? Like, how many of us went back to God like, bruh, like, what are you doing? Like, why you even told me to do this? How does this even make sense? Like, ever since I started doing this thing, it just seems like everybody is against me. Ever since I started to do this thing, it seems like I'm going broke. Ever since I started to do this thing, it feels like I cannot flee sexual immorality. Ever since you told me to do this, my flesh has been fleshing. Like, why you sent me? Like, why do you have me doing this? Like, let's be real. Like, put it in the comments, like, if you've ever had that type of prayer to God. So Moses goes to God and asks him this, like, yo, like, what's going on? And you can only imagine, like, Moses is like, bruh, I'm just doing what God told me to do. Like, y'all, I didn't know that this was going to happen. Like, God told me we about to be free. That's what God told me. I ain't signed up for all this in the process. And y'all, this is what God says in Exodus 6:6-9. Therefore say to the people of Israel, I am the Lord. I will free you from your oppression, and I will rescue you from your slavery in Egypt. I will redeem you with a powerful arm and great acts of judgment. I will claim you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am your Lord. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, who has freed you from your oppression in Egypt. I will bring you into the land I swore to give to you, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will give it to you as your very own possession. I am the Lord. And I know I'm not the only one, because sometimes I be going to God like, yo, what's good? Like, complaining. And he doesn't even acknowledge me complaining. He literally just reminds me of the purpose. He reminds me of his promise. He reminds me that I'm going to be okay. He reminds me that I am covered. He reminds me that he is taking care of me, that he is Jehovah Jireh. He reminds me that he's my father. Like, he don't even look at the complaints that I'm bringing to him. He just reminds me that he is God. He is sovereign. He is God Almighty. He is El Shaddai. He's going to make it happen. And sometimes that can look so bleak. Sometimes that could be annoying, like, God, but I am in the midst of the fire, right? I need you to come right now. Like, ain't no, I will. Like, it's like right now. But it's like, God, it's like, I've already done it. This is all for my glory. Continue to push and continue to believe that the promise that I declared over your life will come true. So this is, Moses went to him, and this is God's response to him, right? So he is to remind the people, like, yo, like, okay, this is getting crazy. But look, God said he's our people. We are his people. God said he will deliver us. God said that, he will give us this land. He swore to us. He swore to give it to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He swore, and he will not forget his covenant. And it's in my Bible, it says, I am very well aware of the covenant I made with my people. Something like that. And that just shocks me. Like, sometimes we be coming to God like he don't know what he said. And it's like, I'm well aware of what I said. Like, God, like, I know what I said. Like, it's about to come. Like, it's coming. So, I want to go to, I want to finish with this, right? In verse 9, okay, so I read Exodus 6-8, and this is verse 9. And this is what I want to end on, because I believe this is most of us. When we're going through the season of waiting, when we're going through a difficult time, and just the reality of sometimes this Christian walk, right? And I want to just encourage you with this. It says, so Moses told the people of Israel what the Lord has said, but they refused to listen anymore. They had become too discouraged by the brutality of their slavery. And I know it's so many people that are out here in the world that are discouraged. You about tired. You about tired now. You tired of fasting. You tired of praying. You tired of being on your watch. You tired of encouraging people. You tired of like investing into that business. You tired of promoting yourself. You're tired of being nice to people. You're tired of loving people that make it kind of very hard. You're tired of going to that job. You're tired of working out. You're tired of being consistent in X, Y, and Z, right? You're tired of doing that hard thing. You're tired of forgiving people. You're tired of looking people in the face and just acting like you're okay. There's so many things that you could be tired of. Fill in the blank. I want to pinpoint Exodus 6 verse 9, because when I read it, it just was like, wow. So Moses told the people of Israel what the Lord had said, but they refused to listen anymore. They had become too discouraged by the brutality of their suffering, of their slavery. And to the person that is so discouraged that the whole video, you was not listening because it's just like, I'm going to turn this on just to turn, because I know I need to turn it on, but I don't really care because God just ain't been coming through, or you feel discouraged in any way. I just want to remind you that it gets worse before it gets better. That's just the reality of it. But we know the end of the story. That's what's so profound about the Bible. We know the end of the story. The people did get out of of Egypt. Sorry. The people did get free from Pharaoh. Now, we're not even talking about all the plagues and everything God allowed to happen. But the end story is that they made it out, and they made it to that land that was flowing with milk and honey. Forget about everything that happened in the midst of it. Them being in the wilderness, them this, them that. They made it out of Egypt. You will make it out your situation. Although it's getting worse, just understand that Pharaoh, the enemy, and the fear is going to throw darts at you, because he does not want you to be free. Because once you are free, you will strip that whatever it is that God is calling you out of their wealth. And that is what Israel did. You'll basically destroy their economy, because who was about to do the things that the Israelites was doing. You're about to set on fire the kingdom of heaven. You about to come into some wealth. You know what I'm saying? And change the trajectory of the kingdom of God. The enemy does not want you to do these things that God is calling you to do. Once Pharaoh became aware of what God was doing, the elders of the Israelites, they was on board. They was like, yes, come on, let's do it. But once the enemy heard the plan of God, he started to throw darts. He said, no, I'm taking away the straw. Y'all figure it out. So I just want to let you know that you will make it out. If you're in a discouraged place right now, if you like, God, I did what you told me to do, I'm going back. Like, at this point, ain't no point. I'm going back. I'm telling you to stick around for one more day. Stick around for one more day. You will make it out. The end of your story ends well. What's happening in between, the plot twist and the climax and all that's crazy. And I understand, but you will make it out. The end of the story is that you will make it out because the Israelites made it out. So that is what I wanted to encourage you guys with today, is that you will make it out. You will make it out. The Israelites were so they were so discouraged about what was happening, and I'm sure the labor was crazy physically and mentally. You know what I'm saying? There were slaves getting whipped, getting beat, and it's like, we didn't really ask for this, and you came in and did all of it and said all of this, Moses. Now everything going crazy. Like, what's going on? They were discouraged. But at the end of the day, God really came through for them, and God kept that covenant that he said. And I want to read this that I wrote to you guys. It said, the reality of this story is that it got very hard before it got better. All 10 plagues lasted about 40 days, plus the Red Sea situation. Plus them actually going into the wilderness with no food and water, then daily bread like manna, to having to fight wars to get to the land. My God, the process was dreadful. This story seems like a long, dragged out story of misery, if we're just being honest. However, God did exactly what he said he was going to do. He said that he was going to free his people from the hand of Pharaoh, and he did that. No matter how sticky the situation gets, God will always come through. And that is what I wanted to encourage you guys with. Please go and read the book of Exodus, or read the first like 12 chapters. But I'm going to list the first 12 or the first 3 to 10 chapters of our to recap of what we talked about today. But that's what I wanted to encourage you about. Those that are discouraged with life and doing what God told you to do, I want to encourage you that you're going to make it out. No matter how crazy it looks right now, you gonna make it out. We just gotta put one foot in front of the other, and we just gotta trust that God is the man of his word. We gotta try really hard to remember his promises and remember his word in the Bible, because sometimes we forget those promises that God has told us. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we have to remind ourselves that God is not a man that he should lie. He's sovereign, he's almighty, and you will make it out. That's all I have for you guys this week. And I hope you guys have a blessed week, and I'll talk to y'all, and I'll see y'all